Welcome to Sales Warrior Inspire.
Hey everybody, welcome to an episode of Sales Warrior Inspire. You probably know the show Sales Warrior War Room, fantastic show, and those episodes are still out on the podcast. But today we're starting a new series and it's called Sales Warrior Inspire. And just so you know why we call it Sales Warrior Inspire, because we believe that you can have the best sales skills ever. But ultimately, it's a blessing when you get business, and business owners know that, and we don't take that for granted. And today, I'm lucky enough to have an excellent guest here. Ethan Rutter has been kind enough to come over. He's the first guest that's ever come on location with me to do a podcast, which is kind of wild. But Ethan, say hello to everybody at Sales Warrior Inspire.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Awesome, man. I want this to really be valuable. Ethan brings an incredible amount of in-home sales experience to the table. And I got to be honest with all the sales warriors out there. I got a lot of experience selling to, lack of a better term, doctors, lawyers, business owners, things such as this, very high ticketed items. I've never done any really in-home sales. Ethan has, though, and I have people approach me all the time that want sales training that do in-home sales. So this is going to be invaluable for the folks that are inside the homes and doing the HVAC, doing the water filtration systems, and all the other different things that homeowners typically do need. Which brings up a good point, Ethan. Before we just talk business, I think it's really important when we're talking on the podcast that just tell us a little bit about yourself, like what your background is, where you come from, maybe some things you like to do in your spare time. Just people buy from people they know, like, and trust. So I think it's important that if people are going to get something out of this, they know a little bit about you. I'll just turn it over to you. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so I come from the corporate world, right? Just like a lot of people, it was, what we learned from our parents oftentimes was you go work for the same company for your life and then you retire, right?
Yeah.
Whether it be with pension, whatever the case may be. And, I did that through my 20s, and towards the end of my 20s, it just kind of hit me that I wasn't really fulfilled with what I was doing in the big corporate world, trying to climb that corporate ladder.
Sure.
And it just I didn't feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
So back in 2019,
okay,
I got an opportunity to just simply try, kind of on a part-time basis, specifically more in the evening for in-home sales.
Okay.
And, really what I did was I kept my full-time job, and did that because I was so afraid to just dive right in. Right.
Yeah. Understandably so.
And I still remember, on one of the interviews prior to, being hired for the position, I remember describing hey, look, I'm not a sink or swim type guy. I'm going to get in the water, and I'm going to, I'm going to tread water for a little bit to make sure that I can swim.
Right. Absolutely.
Because I was so scared to, enter in the 100% commission.
Oh yeah.
Eat or be eaten type world with sales. So I started that back in 2019. I ended up doing both, my corporate job working at a flour mill. So I was a maintenance supervisor.
Okay.
I did that, and then I would go to homes and sell water filtration in the evening time. So I did both of those full time, basically for 4 months, and then finally by the fourth month, I felt confident enough that I could be able to provide for my family.
Yeah.
To let go of that safety net and just dive in.
Yeah.
Ready and get started and go sales full time.
Right. What part of the country were you in?
So that was in Wichita, Kansas.
Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Man, that's impressive. So I think so many people just want to be given everything. I see that all the time.
Sure.
And I love hearing about like sacrifice to get what you want out of your life. So talk to me. I want to understand like how many hours are we talking? Like how many hours was your job at the flour mill where you're the maintenance gentleman, and how many hours were you doing the home sales? Like what was your whole day like?
Yeah. So I usually wake up around 5 in the morning.
Okay.
Because I had about a 45 to hour long commute to the flour mill every day.
Okay.
So I had a long drive, especially for in Wichita, Kansas.
Yeah.
So I'd make that drive, and I typically would try to be there by between 6:15 and 7 every day to get started, and then we'd work until 5:30 typically.
Okay.
And then I would wait for a lead to come in, and then I would drive to the lead, and then I would work until I was done, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wouldn't, I usually wouldn't get home until 10, between 9 and 11 at night. So that was kind of what it looks like, getting started in sales for me.
Sure. So how many leads were you doing a night?
Just one, typically.
Okay.
Yeah, just one. You'd be there 2 or 3 hours usually.
At the homeowner's house?
Yep.
Whoa. Okay.
Yep.
And you're doing water filtration systems?
It was water filtration. Yep.
Okay. Got it. So what was the price point of the water filtration systems?
So when I started, it was, I want to say around $7,000. That was back in 2019.
Okay. Okay. So $7,000. And was there, did they just put it on a credit card? They write you, most people probably aren't going to write you a check for $7,000.
Yeah, no, it was financing.
Okay.
Yeah,
so financing.
Yep.
Okay.
So the whole idea was to, show value,
Yeah.
and then, help offset what the monthly investment was compared to what they were already spending, whether it be on, bottled water and soaps and, just different things like that. So that was kind of the, you oftentimes we correlate sales to find the need, fill it, right? But with this, you had to first create the need.
Yeah.
So that was part of the process on how it worked in home. So
okay, gotcha. No, that's in there, and I'm going to dig into that more, Ethan. But I want to talk about like that was obviously scary for you, and I get the whole like don't jump in because you got bills.
Sure.
And if it doesn't work out, you need a safety net, and maybe you're going to try a different home sales gig that's an easier sell, or maybe more profitable, whatever. I've done the same thing where I'm doing 2 different gigs at the same time just to see if I'm going to jump or not. So I get that 100%. But what I'm wondering, like, did you just get like a gut feeling that, man, I don't want to? Or no, you said you had a mentor. So your mentor, were they the ones that said, hey, maybe you should do water filtration sales?
Yeah. So my wife's best friend,
Okay.
Her parents actually owned the company, and I've been a car guy my whole life, right?
Okay.
So as far as like selling cars, I typically would fix cars and then sell them just to try to make some extra money on the side.
So you flipped
right?
cars. Okay.
Yeah,
I like it. All right.
Yep. So I kind of did that, and that's really what kind of got me in the door as far as like, hey, you should talk to my brother basically, and see if he'll let you give it a shot, right? So
Wow.
That was really kind of how it all started.
So they own the company, and they're like, okay, and they probably were having some success, and they could probably notate that to you, and so like, yeah. So man, that's a fantastic story. But the thing is the key is that you're able to do the work.
Mhm.
Like a lot of people want to be able to do the work. A lot of people be like, I can't do that. Like I can't like get up at 5 a.m.,
Mhm.
drive 45 minutes to work, get there, work a whole day,
Yeah.
and then leave there and go be in the home and sell a water filtration system. Like
Yeah.
I can't do that. And that negative self-talk isn't going to lead to any business,
Well,
or any success.
And I think the other piece too,
Yeah.
like it kind of sounds like a fairy tale right now, right? Because
Yeah.
we see the results, but
Yeah.
in all reality, the God blessed me with the opportunity.
Yeah.
And I went out. The very first lead that I went on
Yeah.
was in the town that I had lived, and I sold.
Okay.
Sold the very first one.
You did.
Like,
That's fantastic.
We had this big long script, on a book, and like to show people and do the demo.
Yeah.
And I remember, I went through a week-long training, and you had to memorize this.
Yeah.
I had never been in sales before, much less do I have a fantastic memory and and all these things. And I remember in the back of my book, I cut the script, and I put it behind it so that whenever I would flip the page, I could try to remember what I was supposed to say.
Oh, gotcha.
So
did you have to have the script memorized?
You're supposed to.
Okay.
And I mean, obviously I did the best. I mean, you're talking an hour and a half long.
Oh, yeah.
Of words that I
So
literally
maybe had something at like the bottom of the flips, as you're flipping through things and
yeah,
okay.
because I had it faced the customer, right? And
Right.
then on the back side, I'd have the words that I'm supposed to say to try to remind me, right? So I wouldn't just blank. Like I said, it all kind of sounds like a fairy tale right now, but that first one was just like, okay, I can do it, right?
Yeah.
And I remember I was so excited, and just cloud nine, all right, this is my opportunity. This is the door that God opened, that
I love it.
I can do something different with my life.
Yeah.
That I never thought of, right? And then it all came crashing down.
Okay.
And
okay.
I go through and I memorized this script, and we had closing, right, where you had to memorize all your closing verbiage and all these things, right? And connecting with people as far as with small talk and things like that isn't really my strength. Right?
Yeah. I understand.
It's something that I've really had to develop and work on.
Yeah.
And
I think that's everybody. They take
you
take it for granted, but you go to a cocktail party, you go to a social event, and maybe your wife knows everybody there because your wife's in the medical field, right?
Oh yeah, we do the same thing now.
Yeah. So. Oh, did she do your business?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But she was in the medical field.
She was. Yeah, she was a nurse for a long time.
Got it. Okay. Yep. So you're going to have to go, my wife's a teacher, so I have to go to teacher events.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all teachers, their husbands, we don't have anything in common other than our wives are teachers.
Right.
And so you got to figure out stuff to say to each other, most of the time it's sports or, but yeah, I think people take that for granted, and they think people understand small talk, how to do small talk. And small talk is an art.
Oh yeah,
to do it well.
And I was not good at it.
Yeah, but the key is it's like golf. I just started playing golf again, and I am not good at it. But the thing is you can get better at it. And with small talk, it's the same thing.
Sure,
you can practice your putts, you can practice your chips, you can practice your drive. You can get better at it.
Yeah.
So the level that you're at right now isn't going to be the level that you're going to be at 5 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
Your level, and it will grow exponentially too. if you keep working on it.
For sure.
That's the thing. Like a lot of people just, for whatever reason, with some skill set, they stop working on it. They just hit a certain level and never go past that level.
Yeah.
And but let's dig in some more. So what came crashing down? Talk to me about that.
I got that feeling and kind of that taste of oh my goodness, like I can do this, right?
Oh, okay.
And it all came crashing down very soon after, because I focused on the wrong things in the sales appointments.
Oh, okay.
Because I was so focused on being perfect with the words and
right.
Closing and like all these things. Like I really, like, looking back, I lost the most important part, which was just connecting with people and just being myself. Right.
Yeah.
And I ended up, mind you, it was 100% commission.
Yeah.
I ended up going on, I want to say 34 appointments in a row.
Okay.
Did not sell a single deal. Not one.
So you got one right out of the gate.
One right out of the gate.
And then you went 34 more with a goose egg.
Correct.
Okay. And then obviously you started selling.
Yeah. So
what turned it for you?
And I'll never forget, I drove, I worked all week at the mill.
Okay.
And I remember they had scheduled me to drive to Kansas City, which was about a 3.5 hour drive from my hometown.
Okay.
Drove out to Kansas City in the afternoon on a Friday after work. The plan was to run appointments, all Friday evening and then Saturday, right?
Okay.
And stayed in the hotel, whole nine, right? So I had 2 Friday night and didn't sell. And then Saturday I had 3 or 4 more, which was...
Wow, that's a lot.
It was a lot. Right?
Yeah.
Didn't sell any of those either. Right?
Okay. So let me use my math. So are we at about like 39 goose egg at this point?
34 is the total. So this was just all
okay. So cumulatively, okay, you're just walking us through the Kansas City trip.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember on my drive back home, because I got out of my last appointment at 10 or 10:30. I was there just trying everything I could to, get a deal sold. So after all that, tail tucked between my legs, basically, on that 3.5 hour drive back home, and all the doubt, I just cost my family money because I drove and the time, the opportunity.
Absolutely. Wow.
I wasn't making money. Right.
And
it just started creeping in. Is this what I'm supposed to do? Is this am I going to be stuck? Right. Do I need to go back and, just grind and, work in the mill the rest of my life?
Right.
And, amidst all of this, we had also bought our first rental home that we were remodeling, and so going through all that, my wife and I. So it was a crazy 4 months, right? And this was all within my.
Was her income good when you were doing that?
Yeah, she was doing very well. She, my wife has a master's in nursing.
Okay.
So she was.
So you had that income coming in, but
so
you still probably had more bills
me.
than you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm clocking.
But all within that first month and a half, 2 months, right? And then it was just, what is going on? Well, we had a trip planned. We went on a cruise.
Okay.
And I remember going out on a lead before the cruise, didn't sell. Right. Okay. Literally the last.
I did not expect that when I'm having you on the show.
Did
this
not
guy's
sell.
A gun.
Did not sell.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So we go on this cruise. Yeah. I'm I can't even remember exactly what it is, but I know it was in the 30s. I was 34-0 for, selling. I hadn't sold. I don't even know why they kept me around. Frankly, right. Yeah. Leads were expensive. And so we go on this cruise, and I read a book You know,
what book did you read?
It was a Bobby Bones book. So
Okay.
it was called Fight, Grind, Repeat. And I listened to his podcasts in the mornings.
Okay.
Just on my way to work. I had a long drive.
I like it.
So I'd listen to, you know, his podcasts. And
Yeah.
the part of the, you know, my sales mentor at the time was big on, hey, you got to read this. They were giving me books to read, and all these things. Like they saw something in me that I didn't.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad they weren't like just like having you go against the world.
Yeah.
And all the fear without any foundation.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, they were really trying.
Okay.
You know, and they just saw something that I didn't totally see myself.
Right.
We go on this cruise, and I read this book. You know, it was really kind of a motivation and like self-help type of book,
absolutely.
Right? Because like I've got this doom and gloom in the back of my mind of like, holy cow, I'm gonna have to be at this flour mill. I'm gonna have to work here for the rest of my life. Like, that was my mentality. Because I wasn't selling, I wasn't making, I was losing money. Right.
Yeah.
And so I read this book, and there was just something in there that like just said to keep fighting. Right. Fight, grind, repeat. That was the whole.
So it was fight, grind, repeat.
Yep.
Okay.
So it was just like, you know, you have to keep fighting through tough times, right? And that's a big thing in sales. Like everybody is going to experience tough times, right? So I read this book, and it hit me, and we get back home from our cruise and back into the, you know, flour mill in the morning all day, and then sales at night, right?
Man, I got a lot of respect for that.
And sold very first deal from coming back, right? So finally, 1 of 35, right?
I just got to say that's badass.
Yeah.
You know, that you stayed in the game. You got to,
Yep.
I mean, you got to get in there to.
I took my script with me on vacation. Like, I mean, I didn't want to give up because I knew God built me for more.
Yeah.
Right.
I love it, man.
And so it was just that something in that book just kept me like, okay, because like the first part of the cruise was just like, I'm not even going to open the script. I don't even want to.
Right.
Like, this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
You know,
man.
And I had all this self-doubt.
Yeah.
And came back and sold my very first deal. And then the next one. And the next one.
Man, I love it.
And the next one. And
now you got the big end of momentum.
Yeah. And I can't remember exactly, but what it was, but I want to say I sold like 6 or 9 deals in a row. Right. And I was just like, holy cow, like this is now, it's starting to offset my monthly income. You know, like this is going to work.
I love it, man. I love it.
I'm on cloud 9, like, all right, like here we go.
Yeah.
And then cancel.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't expect that. Okay.
So now it's the next fight, right? And so I kept fighting through it, kept learning, you know, I knew I could do
language when you're doing an in-home sell to keep them from canceling.
Yeah, post-closing.
Yeah. Like you help with buyer's remorse before they even know they have buyer's remorse.
Yeah, for sure. So I went through this whole like roller coaster of you know, getting into 100% commission sales role. Yeah. And you know, by the time I hit my 4th month, I gave a month notice and did all that, and I was by that point almost doubling what I was making, and it had all finally clicked very, very quickly, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, I knew God had built me for more. I wasn't totally sure how or why or what or you know, any of that. And then I was only a full-time sales rep for 2 more months.
And then you became a sales manager.
And then I got promoted and moved. So I lived apart from my wife. I would commute from Wichita to Oklahoma City 2.5 hour drive, nothing crazy.
So that's where you're building your team, was Oklahoma City.
Yep.
So did you take up like an apartment there?
I lived in
Rented a house?
one of the owners.
Uh-huh.
I lived in their camper
Oh, wow.
behind the office
Oh, man.
for several months,
Okay.
and then I ended up. I had a friend that lived there, and one of the guys that he had worked with was looking for someone to, for him to just rent a room out to.
Yeah.
And then I ended up going and
Yeah.
finding a room to rent basically from Monday to Thursday. So then I didn't have to live in the camper.
Yeah.
And so then I did that, and that was all like during COVID too.
Wow.
So commuting back and forth, and
Hey, I want to summarize some of this because a lot of people are going to be listening to this, and it's so helpful because like you might or might not remember like exactly what Ethan says to you, but I'll give you a word picture and it depicts what Ethan was going through. And that word picture would be football, the running back. The running back is exactly like a sales guy because he gets the ball, he runs a little bit, and bam, he gets tackled. Or maybe he fumbles it like what Ethan was saying with cancellations and loses the ball. But the key is at some point, the running back that has perseverance makes it and gets a touchdown. And if you're like Emmitt Smith back in the day, you did anything to just get a little bit extra yardage. And like I see that with like Ethan's story with getting up early in the morning, driving, working all day, going and doing those appointments, getting all that rejection. And when he could have been like I'm not going to candy coat it, like a loser mentality, he's on that cruise and he's reading a book on how to win.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's what separates a champion from a chump. you gotta like stay in it to win it, and you gotta have that mentality that like you're getting that ball from the quarterback and you're gonna run it, you're gonna get a little yardage and you're gonna get thrown to the ground. You're gonna get a little yardage and you're gonna get thrown to the ground. You're gonna get a little yardage and you're gonna get thrown to the ground. However, at some point you're gonna have that aha moment.
Yeah.
And I think that aha moment is a belief in what you're selling.
Sure.
Because I believe that people really aren't buying your product, they're buying your belief in the product. And if you don't believe in the product, they're going to see it. And the other thing that goes on, I love the fact that your mentors. I'm a country boy. I'm not really, I don't have the best, whatever you call it. But when you think about reading books, listening to, like back in the day for me, tapes, but for you, streaming podcasts like this podcast, we would hope that this helps folks. But what I see here, the second word picture I see here, and it's no offense to you, but it's everybody that starts out in sales, including me, who's been doing it like 37 years. If you picture a stick figure on a piece of paper, and that stick figure is like in the bottom left quadrant, and he's only about maybe that big, and the bag of money he wants is on the right side of the screen. The bag of money is like that big. You think that little stick figure can go and grab that bag of money and put it in their car and go home? Is that reasonable? It's not. So what has to happen is that little itty bitty situation or person and belief in themselves has to grow like that big and cover that whole page. So now picture a stick figure with a great big head, and he's just as big as that money bag, and he just goes over and grabs it. And that's what you want to become. And the only way to do that is to build yourself up, which is what your mentor taught you to do. And I love it, man. And your tenacity of not giving up is a testament to why you're successful. And man, stories like yours just make me like excited, because I sit there and I think about like, okay, you left your wife. That's not comfortable.
Just during the week.
Yeah. No, I know you didn't get divorced. Yeah, no, but like you left your wife, and that's uncomfortable. And now you're like living in an RV or a trailer or whatever. I mean, you're willing to give up the creature comforts of today to have the amazing life that you have today, because right now you and your wife live in a beautiful, majestic home with a swimming pool and a hot tub, and your kids are just growing up in an amazing, atmosphere, and probably great school system at some point when they get older. And so you gave up in the short term so that in the long term you could have the life that you wanted. And I think that's lost on a lot of salespeople.
Sure.
I think they want to skip steps. Like they want to walk into this sales meeting, and it's almost like they want to take out a I don't know if I date myself. I don't even know if these things are around, but like a bean burrito and throw it in the microwave and hit 1.5, take it out and start eating it. Life isn't that way.
No.
Like you got to get in there, and like that book that you got, grind, repeat.
Yeah. Fight, grind, repeat.
Fight, grind, repeat. I like the fight. I tend to like to use things like inspired. It's a game, but still, at the end of the day, it's a fight. I just use these emotional. I just use like these psychological changes. So I just don't like the term grind.
Sure.
I do like saying things like get in it, get it all over yourself. Just like you get all your leads out, and which one am I going to call? Who am I going to call next? Blah, blah, blah. And you got to get inspired to go after it. But man, that's an awesome inspirational story, because like you got beat down, and the key is that your why was bigger than the rejection.
Yeah.
And you're able to overcome the rejection ultimately because your why was really big. And as you grew that stick man, you're able to grab that money bag, and now you're probably not even fitting on the page with the money bag. So now you're just you're exponentially, like Tony Robbins says, at some point in life, you get exponential growth where you work less and you make more.
Yeah.
Early on, you work, and you might not make anything.
Yeah.
And then you make a little, and you get successful enough to have like a roof over your head, but you really don't have lifestyle.
Right.
But at some point, if you persevere and play the long game, you get exponential growth. And that's what you're seeing, you and your wife are seeing in your lives right now, as you're seeing the fruits of your labor, and God is blessing you, and seed time harvest.
Well, and to your point, I think that one of the things that, especially with sales, right?
Yeah.
Like, salespeople, obviously, they over the years and decades have such a bad reputation, right? And I think that that's because oftentimes salespeople lead with money, right? Like, why do you do this? Well, I want to make money, right? I want to make more money, right? Kind of how I started in with this, my mentality was, if I can at least make half of what I make right now, we're going to be okay. Yeah. And
like that's a good thing to do.
That was a big part for me. Like, I didn't get into sales to make a ton of money. Right. But
you wanted out of your situation.
I wanted to find, like, what I was chasing more than anything was my identity, right? To find something that fulfilled me, and to find, my purpose and why God put me here.
I like it, man. I love it. I love it.
That was such a huge piece because, up to getting into sales, like, from the outside in, we had a beautiful home, we had new cars, outside in, it was just like, life's great. But, in all reality, like, I wasn't fulfilled, and I wasn't, I just wasn't, I don't know if happy is the right word, but I just wasn't fulfilled. I knew that there was more.
Yeah, you weren't.
I just didn't know exactly, how to get there, or, what it would look like, anything like that. I just knew that I needed to take a chance.
Absolutely.
I needed to bet on myself.
Yeah.
And just, walk through the door that got opened and see what's behind it. So
you were not doing your destiny. Like, and you probably were a little depressed.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Like I've been depressed.
Absolutely.
And many times it's when you're at a job that you don't like.
Right.
And we're wired to take care of our families. And the hardest thing in the world is to start looking outside of your job, because that seems, most people will be like, well, why, it's hard to find a job and you got a good job. Why would you be trying to like leave your job?
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like most people's mentality is, it's a fear mentality, and it's not even a fear of selling something mentality. It's a fear of losing what they have.
Yeah.
And there's just so much goodness in what we're talking about today. I'm thinking of another good word picture, but I'll give you a slogan that I kind of came up with. And granted, I didn't completely come up with it. I kind of like, it's been around a while, but I kind of put it all together in a longer slogan. So here's how it goes. People before profits, because people buy from other people. And most salespeople will put whatever they're trying to get out of the meeting, and they've already spent the commission check before they've ever even like left the house or found the need or whatever. And I mean, I bought water filtration systems at my house because I was going through some serious medical issues with my intestinal tract. And it was suggested that maybe the water that I'm drinking was not good for me. The fact that a lot of people just take their pharmaceuticals and throw it in the toilet, and it's almost impossible to get those pharmaceuticals filtered out with just a city water system. Fluoride that they put in the water, just all the contaminants that they put in the water. So I've been, what is it called? Triple osmosis water for a while. But yeah, I mean, so I mean, I've never sold a water filtration system in a house, but I did buy one from a guy. And for me, it was, in the day he sold it to me was kind of easy for him because I had a really, really bad stomach ache. And I was just like, I had just been in the hospital for diverticulitis, which is a horrible intestinal infection. And I was well from that, but I was still had a messed up gut. And it was months and months and months. But I think that filtered water helped the situation versus just drinking the tap water. But with that said, the reason I'm describing that is that particular type of a business is finding out like about the people. Like people above profits. Like, tell me, like, when you think about, purchasing water, bottled water or whatever, do you just buy the cheapest bottled water you can, or do you try to buy some that have minerals in it? Do you try to buy some that, and I've never done your gig. I'm not saying I've done it, but if you can find out what somebody's done or is doing in the past, or even currently, that can lead to the sale, because then you can paint the picture where you're doing this already. You're going out and you're buying that water, that better water. You go out to California and everybody has cases and cases of bottled water because their city water is horrible. You might have a little bit better city water, but is it good for you?
Do
you want to drink water that's bad for you? You do, or you can even like, I don't know why I'm going on this tangent, but
water is important. I mean, that's
it's you can't live without it.
That vacation that we went on, and the book was a piece of it. But I had really bad skin issues.
Oh, okay.
We had no idea why. I mean, I wore gloves all day. I was in a flour mill. The top floor of the mill is 120 plus degrees, working in that all day. With,
wow, dude.
FR, the flame retardant, like long sleeve jeans, boots, like all that, right? So I thought that it was just because like heat and different things like that. But one of the, I would say very pivotal moments in my selling career early on was buying my product, buying what I was, selling and offering to
Believe.
people.
So
and-
okay, so now I
and-
got a question.
No, 1 week, all my
Yeah.
skin issues went away. I'm not even kidding. Within a week.
Wow. So your belief was much higher.
So
So
so you talk about being bought in and believing what you're selling.
yeah,
When all my skin issues went away, you know, because you have to think in typical like city water.
okay. Quick
especially.
question.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're on that slump and you hadn't really sold anything yet, had you bought the system yourself yet?
Towards the end of it, I had, because I was just like,
But-
I better do it now before I get fired.
Right, okay. So, but when you weren't selling it, you didn't own the system at home.
I didn't.
So
No.
like if they bottom line you said, Ethan, tell me about the system you have at home right now, and you didn't have one,
Mhm.
and so like they probably felt that. Like,
Yeah.
this
I
guy
had like
does,
a basic system, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was still.
and more importantly, like you hadn't solved the skin issue yet.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
No.
so you didn't have this like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Right.
Like this is doing something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's doing something for people's health
Mhm.
because skin issues are I mean, I'm no doctor, but skin issues are an example of contaminants,
Sure.
and the skin doesn't like the contaminant. Skin's the biggest organ in the human body,
Right.
and not good to have skin issues. So not good to drink bad water either. I mean, it's a short life we're here for, and
Yeah. Yep.
you can live without food for 30 days. Is that right? But you can't. But water you have to have like within 10 days or you die.
Right.
It's something
Yeah.
like that. Like it's off the chart. Like you can just go to skin and bones, but if you have no water,
Yeah.
you're in a bad situation. So I'm going to reiterate that, but it's kind of like if you don't have inspiration
Mhm.
and you don't have something you believe in, very hard to keep going
Sure.
during the obstacles.
Yeah.
Very, very hard to keep going during the obstacles, and the obstacles are normal. I mean, it's normal to get rejected. It's normal for people to say no. It's almost like it's an automatic reflex. If a guy came right here, because we're at the lake house right now, knocked on the door and wanted to sell me some candy bars, and I love candy bars, especially if they were like salted, dark chocolate, it would be hard for me to say no. But my reflex would be, no, we're not interested. And that's everybody. But then if they come back with, oh, but sir, I understand you're not interested, but you don't know, we have these gourmet dark chocolate candy bars with sea salt. And I'm like, oh man, you got me. So that's a bit of a tangent, but man, I love the fact that you had the obstacle, you gained the belief, you stayed in the game, you overcame. And then I got one other thing that I want to know, because I think this is so important. This was a big thing for Zig Ziglar. And I want to understand this, especially since in fact you trained salespeople
Mhm.
and you trained a successful sales team, and obviously it made you very successful in life, because you're not that old yet, right?
36.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm 59. So it's all relative. But the thing is that I want to understand, when you very first started going on sales calls, how you were dressed and what your haircut was like. I know it sounds basic, but I just want to understand that.
So it was very unique for me because I was drenched in sweat all day long.
Yeah.
Right. Covered in flour, like
Wow.
whole
I'm
nine.
glad you're mentioning that, because we wouldn't know that.
No,
Yeah.
I would take a shower before I left the mill.
Okay.
Right? Because I had to take a change of clothes, like
Right.
full change of clothes. So
Right.
I was drenched head to toe
Right.
by the time,
Right.
heat of the summer. And, so typically, especially with in-home sales, my belief is that you have to be comfortable, right? But there still has to be a level of professionalism.
Absolutely.
And I never wanted to come across or look like a salesperson, so to speak, right? So, and for me, where I was comfortable was with a nice pair of jeans,
Okay.
and nice pair of boots,
Yep. Cowboy boots.
cowboy boots,
Okay. All right.
and button up, collared shirt.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I mean that
seems respectable.
that or like a polo.
Right. Right.
you know,
But you weren't
oftentimes-
wearing a t-shirt.
no,
You weren't wearing grimy jeans that you just,
no,
worked
absolutely
in.
not.
Yeah.
No holes, none of that
I
stuff.
imagine your
Like,
boots were polished up. Boots look good.
for the most part,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, they were my work boots, right?
Yeah.
You know, but
But they didn't have holes in them.
No.
Like, yeah.
no.
Like you presented yourself like you're successful before you're successful, right? Okay, that's key. So tell us about your haircut. I know these things sound basic, but we're gonna get to that. Go ahead.
So when I originally interviewed,
Mhm.
I mean, it was we're coming out of winter. It was cold. We worked outside. Right?
Yeah.
So I had a full beard, and I ended up cutting my beard. And I mean, really, what you see right now, as far as like I was just
Very clean cut looking.
clean cut. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't have a beard at all.
Right.
But I like to think that it's grown in a little bit since my late 20s, but still working on it some.
It does do that, and then it goes white.
Yeah, I know, I've got some already. But really, it was just making sure that I looked nice, right?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
you can't go into people's homes and look like a slob, like especially more specifically when you're trying to sell and offer a premium product.
Yeah.
You should look.
You got to look
Premium,
successful
right? Like
before you're successful, right?
Yeah, like you don't
Yeah.
need especially with in-home sales, you don't need to wear a suit and tie and all that. Like there's definitely a thing as far as like overdoing it.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna go out on a date with your spouse,
Right.
What are you gonna look like?
Right.
You're gonna
Right.
wear nice shoes, at least for me.
Yeah.
Nice, and even with a polo, I wouldn't even necessarily tuck it in, right?
Right.
But that was how I was comfortable, right?
Yeah.
And I still,
You got to be both comfortable and professional.
right.
Yeah.
And the reality is,
You're not going to be in a suit and a tie.
right.
Going in to sell a water filtration system. People are going to be like, we're not in. Yeah. I mean, it's over the top.
Especially with sales, when you're going into somebody's space, right? They're going to judge you in the first 10 seconds that they look at you.
Exactly.
Like that is
Agreed.
they are going to form an opinion of you
Right.
immediately.
Right.
And you get to control that a little bit,
Right.
right? Like if you go in and you look like a slob, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Absolutely.
Like you need to look decent.
I
sure.
100% agree. I 100 because I did outside sales for several years,
Mhm.
and you had to look professional. I mean,
Yeah.
it was yeah. I mean, you had to look professional, and you weren't going to be successful if you didn't look professional. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
Zig Ziglar just used to say you need to make up, dress up, to show up, to go up, and so true.
Sure.
So talk to me about some of your. So I want to understand. Did you ever have a salesperson or saleswoman, sales guy, whatever, politically correct here, that when they very first started in one of the gigs where you're a sales manager, Ethan, they didn't present themselves professionally. Maybe you coached them in a professional look. I'm sure you had to do it with people skills, and you saw their business improve. Do you have any examples of that over the years?
Yeah,
Okay. I figured you did, but I thought I'd ask anyway.
I did all the hiring, training, everything, and
Yeah.
to be frank, I was kind of a hard ass.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And I can't tell you how many times somebody would walk into my office
Yeah.
for an interview,
Right.
and I just told them I wasn't interested.
Because they're in a t-shirt. They're not
T-shirt,
dressed
jeans,
up.
polos,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it. I wouldn't even interview them.
Right.
Like if you're not gonna take what this serious enough to look
Right.
the part, like I didn't expect people to come in a full suit, and I had people do that, right?
Yeah.
Like, people did that,
And you
which-
probably appreciated it.
absolutely,
Yeah. You don't
Yeah.
want them going in the home like that, but you probably appreciated the fact that
Yeah.
they cared.
Well,
Right. They cared.
I knew what it was going to take from a time investment for me
Right.
to pour into them,
Yeah.
like what my mentors
You
had
were
poured into
looking
me.
for a person, not a project, I bet.
Well, and
Yeah.
it's one of my biggest things as a sales leader
Mhm.
that I love to do is to help people experience what I got to experience,
Right,
To
right.
help pull them and help guide them into a different path than what, a lot of our societal type
Sure,
things
sure.
teach us to do.
Right.
And,
right.
So I was not afraid of, like projects and different things like that,
Yeah.
but I had to know that they were taking it serious, right?
Yeah,
Because
certainly.
you think about the saying, a few different ones. People don't know, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right? Was a big one. But if they weren't going to take it serious,
Right.
then I wasn't going to invest my time to
Sure.
help them, right?
That makes sense.
Because I knew what the opportunity could look like,
Absolutely.
and
So did you then? Like some of the folks, they didn't even get a chance because they weren't dressed right. But were you able to take some of them and like coach them on, proper, like were you able to up their game?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I
Talk to us about that, like kind of like because a lot of sales managers will listen to this, and it's kind of a hard and difficult conversation to have with the sales guy. Like, most guys don't talk about, oh, that's a really nice polo you're wearing.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or wow, maybe you should get a nicer polo if you're going to be in home sales.
So one of the things for me, as
Yeah.
far as like leading other people,
Right.
is it's not necessarily like, sugarcoating things and things like that, but it's having those tougher conversations that
Sure.
might be more uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But if there's one thing that I've learned about sales leadership,
Yeah.
is it is the same approach to what you're expecting people to do to the client.
Right. How you treat them.
Just sales.
Yeah. Like if you treat your people poorly, they're going to treat their prospects poorly.
Well, and how do you have those conversations, right? Like
Yeah.
if as a sales manager,
Mhm.
we're all in sales. That is the reality. I believe that, and I will say that for the rest of my life. We are all in sales in some capacity. Right?
Absolutely.
And so often with sales leaders, it's more along like just the manager side.
Yeah.
And I've gone through the corporate like leadership training and different things like that.
Yeah.
It taught me a lot, right?
I bet.
Every season of life, God prepared me for the ultimate path that
Right.
I would be led to.
Right.
And
Right.
a lot of that leadership training, it all ties in with sales, and having those tough conversations is just asking questions,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
ask questions to invoke the response that you want. Like
I
if
like
they
it.
look bad, right? You don't have to just simply
Hey,
say,
give us
you
a-
look like crap.
Yeah.
Right?
Give us an example of a question that you would ask them.
So like, for example,
Say some guy has a polo shirt and it's got grease on it. What would you?
Yeah,
What question
so-
would you ask him?
so basically, kind of what I would talk about is, with sales, especially, I'd always go back to people are going to judge you in the first, 10 seconds that they look at you.
Right. Absolutely.
So it was always just a simple question. Hey, just quick question for you. When you walk up to, the next house that you go to, if we know that they're going to judge us in the first 10 seconds they look at us, what do you feel like they might say?
There you go. So
You're
putting it. You're turning a mirror and having them look in the mirror, and then make the decision.
Yeah.
And
then,
I like that.
if I would always lead with that first to
Yeah.
help them solve the problem,
Right,
Instead
right.
of just flat out solving it, because
Right.
there was more, you'd get more buy-in.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's not necessarily being softer, but it's sales, right? Like
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Man, I get it 100% because I see people right now, because I'm in a lot of groups and such.
Mhm.
I see a lot of people, and some of them are so sharp.
Sure.
And then some of them just need to be coached. Like it's not like they can't be sharp.
Yeah.
They're just not yet there.
Mhm.
And it's because mentorship.
Yeah.
They just need to read the right book and what have you. I mean, I can remember early on, like I had no money.
Sure.
And I was in sales, and I didn't have money for a nice pair of slacks. I didn't have money for a nice pair of shoes. I didn't have money to look successful before I was successful. And so, you know what I did, Ethan? I went to a consignment store,
Mm-hmm.
and I got some like really nice slacks, really nice shoes,
Sure.
really nice suits at the consignment store. And then too, like my son here recently, he's gone, because we live in such an affluent area in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He's gone to Goodwill and found like a $300-$400 leather jacket,
Mm-hmm.
and he paid like $50 for it. And he's bought suits there, he's bought trench coats there, like.
Sure.
And so, not having money is not. It's not the end of the world. You just got to be creative. You can't
Sure.
go into Dillard's. You can't go into the most expensive places to buy clothing. You're going to have to be creative about it. But by being creative about it, you can take a used suit and get it tailored up and present yourself well, or slacks or jeans, whatever. Like
Mhm.
I'm just using suit. Doesn't mean, what you're selling. You're wearing a suit. I'm just using that as an example.
Sure.
Like having a low amount of money creates a great amount of creativity.
Mm-hmm.
And creativity is the juice that makes it happen. That's how you get to success,
Sure.
is being creative. Man, we touched on so many things. I love the fact that you had to memorize a script, because there's a lot of I hear salespeople, I hate scripts. I don't want to do a script, blah, 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 blah.
Those are typically not very successful salespeople.
I know. And then I sit there and I think about, I'm reading a biography right now on Al Pacino, and Al Pacino has won multiple Oscars reading scripts,
Mm-hmm.
but he reads them really well.
Sure.
And that's the key. And he reads them with emotion. And so I'm definitely not down on scripts. I mean, even though I'm a horrendously creative individual, back in the day, years ago, my wife would listen to me talk to like software customers and things like that, and she'd be like going, I feel like you're saying the same thing to every software customer. And I'm like going, well, most of the situations are very, very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a script.
Yeah.
But it was a very successful script. And typically there was overlay where it was tailored to them. So though it was a script, it was also needs analysis. The script was more like the benefits of the product,
Sure.
more so than, saying the same thing to everybody. The product had benefits.
Sure.
There were the same benefits for this guy and the 400th guy that you talk to.
Right.
The benefits didn't change,
Yeah.
You might say less benefits to this person versus that person because it's more relevant to that person versus that person, so on and so forth. But man,
Sure.
this has been a blast. I love the fact that you're obviously a faith-filled person. You're inspired. Like, you see how God has moved in your life. I had it on my heart to change Sales Warrior War Room, which sounds like we were in there like with swords and guns and beating out a lot of people, to inspiration.
Yeah.
I want the world of salespeople to be more inspired, because when you sell, like you were saying, like you went on 34 sales calls without making a sale.
Mm-hmm.
But when you finally started selling, you were making something out of nothing. You were creating revenue for the company, and you're creating business, because without a sale, there's no business.
Sure.
You can't have a president of a company where there's no sales. You can't have an accounting department where there's no sales.
Mm-hmm.
All you have is a glorified marketing unit, with really good numbers people. But this has been fun. I'm going to go ahead and promote what I do. I understand, like, you're good. You didn't want to put any kind of promotion in this podcast at all. Is that right?
I mean,
you can add something. Go ahead.
My wife and I now, so there's
go
kind
ahead.
of just a little bit even more to that story, right?
Yeah,
because,
okay.
I built a very successful team in
Right.
the water industry space, very successful.
Yes.
One of the top dealers in the world, right?
Wow.
I led the
How many
number
guys,
one
just
team.
to give people an idea?
I got up to, at one point, I had 22 sales reps that worked directly under me that I coached and mentored, which
Nice.
that was a lot.
Yeah. So what was the revenue that those 22 salespeople were creating?
We would typically generate between $800,000 and $1 million a month in water filtration sales.
That's huge. So $12 million a year.
Almost,
in homes,
over 10.
successful sales.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
So, and you know, kind of the unique part of my sales journey was
Yeah.
it hasn't ended there, right?
Right.
So in 2022, when
Okay.
we had our first daughter,
Yes.
I was working a lot, right? I had 20
22
roughly
people.
20 plus people on my team to mentor. It was in-home sales, so primarily in the evening, and then
How
helping.
many calls were you getting a day, would you say?
I could scroll on my iPhone,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't get through the end before
Was
it
everybody
reset
texting
every
you?
day. Oh, calls, texts, all night, the whole
Wow,
night.
dude.
The finance department, the service guys for the installers, the marketing team,
Wow.
all my sales reps. So it was, I mean, I was basically running the whole store
Yeah.
to solve everyone's issues, to help to keep everything going.
Your
smooth.
operations, your sales manager, you're the in-house psychologist.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So after we had our
Yeah.
first daughter, I saw more success financially than what I had ever dreamed possible.
Good for
Right?
you.
I had no idea. You know, my wife and I,
Uh-huh.
we didn't really change our spending habits
Okay.
and things like that.
Yeah.
We didn't go buy crazy expensive cars.
Right.
Or, you know,
Right.
Just it wasn't really what we kept to our roots. Right.
Right.
And in
It
2000,
didn't jazz you, like, and that's me too. Like, I've
Yeah.
never owned a BMW. I've never owned a Mercedes. I've never
Sure.
owned a Corvette. I own 4 Kias with 100,000 mile warranties on them. by
There
the
you
way.
go.
Go ahead.
But back in after we had our daughter,
Yeah.
I quickly had to look inwards to decide like what type of life did I want to see and envision with my own kids.
Right. Right.
And that was kind of where God led me on that next path, which was to let go of a very successful career doing what I was doing. I was really good at what I did. Like I knew I had it down. I knew when I needed to do trainings. I knew how to train people. I knew what I needed to do.
Right. Right.
And but there was a big time commitment with that. Right.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
not afraid of work.
Right.
Not afraid of work.
Yeah.
But after we had our daughter, it was just, is it really necessarily the money that I'm chasing here, or like what do I want out of life?
Right.
And that just kind of led me to another one of my mentors and great friends.
Yeah.
And I left doing what I was doing.
Okay.
I made sure to train my replacement because
you left the water filtrations and now you're in the payment.
I'm in payments now. Yeah. So
and how many years has that been?
Almost 3.5 now.
Okay.
I've been doing that. So, but I, when I left, I had a lot of people that counted on me. Right. And I wanted to make sure that they were taken care of and that things were set up properly because there's a lot of people.
Are you able to do you get any revenue at all from that business? No, zero. Okay.
No,
understand.
No revenue. I mean,
Okay.
and I even months and months after I had left,
Yeah.
the gentleman that had replaced me, I was still getting on the phone with him and helping him and
man,
doing.
That's so admirable.
I wanted to make sure that my people were taken care of. That's how they provided for their family. Right.
Yeah, man.
And,
I just got mucho respect for you.
But I left that, and that was what was so unique is in this whole thing. I've been talking about me and my path. Well, that also led my wife to kind of find that higher calling too.
Right.
And
right.
She had her master's in nursing.
Yeah.
And when we moved to Oklahoma, she was a manager. She had a new position. She had transferred at the VA, and she was a manager of 40, 50 people.
So she probably had like some kind of spiritual calling that, hey, you're not going to stay in nursing. Like she had like a gut feeling where it's time to do something different.
I would say so early on, and it's not necessarily that I'm proud to admit this,
Yeah.
but I would say, so my wife and I were high school sweethearts.
Yeah. That's awesome.
We've been married for, over 12 years at this point, 13 years.
Right.
But I can say that prior to getting into sales, my wife was leading our family, in not only, just faith, but just as that rock.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And while I was starting to see the success and the different things with, in water filtration, which, I mean, I couldn't have done that without her.
Right. She was Mama Bear.
And so after we had our daughter, she had this calling, kind of the same thing that I went through.
Yeah.
There has to be more. And my wife, after she had our daughter, we have a New Year's Eve baby. So, yeah. 12/31/21. But in May, when she went back to work, she had left.
That helped you on taxes, by the way.
So she had.
I'm not a tax person. This is not tax advice. Go ahead.
She had left her nursing career that she had been doing since high school.
Yeah.
And got into the payment space.
Okay.
And started working for our company CurePay full time after having a baby. And then you talk about the experience that I went through. Yeah. Trying to learn sales.
Man, we could have a whole nother episode on your payment.
And
I'm glad you did the water filtration, because I think it's going to help a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people out there are like frustrated. Am I what am I doing wrong? Blah 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 blah. Well, we just told you what you're doing wrong. So so now you know. And it's okay. Everybody started out doing it wrong. Nobody starts out doing it right.
And not to take a ton more time on that, but the reality is that, the path that God led me on initially, my wife, I then became the leader of our family, which is awesome. Is how it should have been. Yeah. And my wife started doing it, and she started seeing success, and then it was okay. I want to work together. Yeah. And we've done well in the payment space. Just kind of long story short. Yeah. She leads our healthcare team now. Okay. I lead our retail team. Okay. But
how many salespeople do you have?
Right now we have like 8, something like that. Okay. So nothing crazy. Very different approach as far as like with leadership and family.
How are you guys finding your leads? I'm just curious on this.
Cold, door to door.
Okay, so
I go business to business all day.
Yep. So give me an example of somebody you would knock on there, because like a lot of companies are like corporate, and so can the manager make a decision on the major corporation like your?
Not necessarily.
So you got to be calling on a mom and pop business, correct?
I mean,
like restaurants and things like that.
Yeah, we focus more on like small to medium businesses more than anything.
Like strip malls.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I do a lot more with trades businesses. Like that's my big focus. I love working with plumbing companies, HVAC, electrical.
Yeah, because they're unlikely to be a major corporation. You got probably like a master plumber that started. Yeah. He's got all these apprentice plumbers and other plumbers. Yeah. Okay.
I just, again, believing in your product and things like that, and like being able to speak their language too. Selling to a restaurant owner versus selling to tradespeople, like it's different. It's a different conversation. But my point in all that,
sure, go ahead.
Is just because God opens one door for you, doesn't mean that there's not going to be another door on a different path later.
Exactly. Right? I love it. Yeah, man. Because
it's following that. Because when I left doing what I was doing, I was making great money. We had we had upgraded our lives a little bit as far as like with a house specifically. We had more bills and whatnot. But we took a substantial pay cut.
To go into the payment space.
Okay.
But we were obviously now. Have you rebounded out of that now?
Yeah, we're doing better now for sure. Okay. But it's having that faith.
Right. Absolutely.
Which was a huge part of it. I got saved in 2022.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's all
Uh-huh.
an accumulation of where we're led and what you choose to do with those doors that are
Right.
open.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
And
It's
you know,
intense.
is this the last door? Maybe not. Right. There's a lot of opportunity. I love helping people. I love coaching people, and I love working with my wife.
That's awesome, dude. So there's going to be a lot of tradespeople that are going to watch
Mhm.
this. So go ahead and tell them about your payment business, because
Yeah.
I belong to Master Networks in Dallas.
Mhm.
We have 900 members, and many of them are in the trades,
Oh,
roofing,
yeah.
plumbing, the whole 9 yards. I'm sure they could use your payment software
Sure.
system. Talk to them about it, then I'll promote what I do.
Well, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about different doors.
Yeah.
One thing that I've been working on lately that
Uh-huh.
I haven't totally put out to
Yeah.
the public yet
Yeah.
is
Okay.
I've actually created a way for plumbing companies specifically
Uh-huh.
to utilize a lot of the knowledge that I have in the filtration industry.
Okay.
And I've created my own brand. I've
Okay.
built this.
Oh,
This
wow.
was just something else
Okay.
that God gave me,
Oh, wow.
and I've been working on it for the last couple months
Good
with
for
my
you.
wife. I've created this whole thing. I'm super excited about.
Oh man! So
to
any
help
plumbing
plumbing
company
companies.
could sell your branded filtration system when they're on a call.
Yeah.
So they might only be doing I don't know, $1,200 hot water heater.
Sure.
But they could get a $7,000. I don't even know what is a water filtration.
Yeah, I mean, I've so kind of the model that I've built is to help them generate more revenue.
Yeah, they're already out there.
So that's
and they can test the water. They're right there.
Yeah, so that's
so
been
they can tell them this is what's going on with your water.
So that's been something else, kind of a side
Okay.
project that I've been working on.
That's genius. I like it.
And really because in the payments space, it's there's a lot of credit card processors out there, right?
Yeah.
So really, this was something that I came up with to add more value, to those that I really want to serve.
Yeah.
And because I know what it can do as far as, helping them with, a recurring revenue model to get back in homes, to, stay top of mind, all those different things.
Absolutely.
So it's just been kind of a side project that I've been working on. I haven't really
So you haven't
shared it
launched
public.
it? I
I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I have.
we're going to have in the notes for the show, we'll have a URL where you can get a hold of Ethan and get him your contact information. We can also put in Ethan's his business email so that you can contact Ethan directly. The reason you do that, if you're interested in his filtration systems and you're a homeowner, and or if you own a plumbing company or an electrical company or something like that, and you want to add something to your product offering and want to be a business partner with Ethan, we'll make that available to you. And then also, if you own your own business and you want to lower the cost of your payments, which is eroding your profits, we'll also give you Ethan's information for that. Well, I'll go ahead and promote what I do.
I am John the Sales Warrior Sansoni. I've been professionally selling successfully for 34 years. What can I teach you? How to prospect, present, follow up, and most importantly, how to close. I teach God-centered sales principles that help you connect with your client. What can I teach you? How to prospect, present, follow up, and most importantly, how to close. I have a 3-day masterclass that includes motivation and the mental tools to succeed in business and sales. My course includes worksheets, audio, video, and can be taken in 30 action blocks. Also included, how to have greater confidence. My course should be $400. If you get it today, only $299. And included my book for free. Once purchased, you'll get free monthly inspiration from me. Just go to saleswarriorinspire.com and order yours today. That's it. Back to the show.
The biggest things that so many people miss is the learning. You have to keep learning, and more importantly, find the right person to learn from.
Yes.
There's a lot of people out there that shouldn't be training people. So, you know, I know that you do a training, and just speaking with you, it's finding someone that is genuine and wants to help in the right way,
Right.
ethically, God-led. I can't speak enough about that.
Man, thanks, man. I had respect for you before we met face to face and before we did this, but now like my respect level for you has just grown exponentially. I mean, just everything you've shared with me. I mean, there's just no doubt in my mind, like Seed Time and Harvest, you've planted so many good seeds and you've cultivated so many good seeds. And obviously you've been a good steward with what God has given you, and he's just giving you more. Like you've been a good steward, and more's coming your way. And man, that's biblical. You know, and a lot of people don't think that way, but it is. I mean, bad seed will produce bad results.
Yeah, for sure.
Good seed will produce good results, and good seed cultivated will produce amazing results. And so none of this surprises me. But you're an exceptional individual, and I'm so glad you're on this. I think this is going to help so many people that are in the home sales space, which I'm not an expert in, but you obviously are, and that's my goal with Sales Warrior Inspire, is to bring to the table things that I can't bring to the table on my own. And it's a great big world. If you think about a coloring box, there's a bunch of crayons in the coloring box. And I'm only one crayon, and you're only one crayon. So we'll have more people on this show to like share more, ways of doing business and different kinds of businesses. And because sales is a creative process.
It is.
Though we use scripts, a creative person with a great script can get great results. And a non-creative person with a great script can get horrible results. Yeah. And it's just the nature of life.
Yeah.
I don't make up the rules of the universe, but I try to live with them.
Sure.
And they're all predestined, pre-designed, and we're all on the same rolling blue ball across the universe. So, well, cool. Well, this will be the end of this episode from Sales Warrior Inspire. I want to thank Ethan Rudder for coming on the show, and I'm inspired, and I'm hoping you're inspired. And from everybody here, Ethan, you want to say goodbye to everybody?
No, just get out there and work hard, because work ethic beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. That's the reality of it. So,
and I would just share with everybody, find ways to get inspired, whatever that might be. Find ways to get inspired. In fact, ask yourself that question: how can I be inspired? And if that leads you to, doing something great on Sunday, then I'll feel super successful today. But more importantly, find ways to be inspired every single day, not just Sunday, because there's so much inspiration in the world if you keep your eyes open. I'll just give you a little something that inspires me, but I go to the gym and I see people go to the gym, and some of them are like in a walker, like they can't walk, but they're going from machine to machine with a walker, and they're not making excuses because, they're disabled, but they're not making excuses. They're still getting to the gym, and they're still doing good things for their body. So that's just a piece of information, what have you, about there's inspiration all over the world, all the time. It's in front of you. Just keep your eyes open, get inspired, and live a fruitful life. Cheers, everybody.